Christians don't religiously pray in the street. In their religion, they quote Jesus. Jesus said to them, hide, pray in secret. Don't pray out in public. Okay, this is their faith. You're not going to see them praying out anyways. It's not their doctrine. So how are you comparing an Islamic one? Okay, you want to compare UAE, which is applying a law or whatever, but this law in the UAE, it is excluded if you have a permit. This is talking about doing something without a permit. If I go to the government and seek a permit, would there be any issues doing that? No, you guys have a permit, or are you doing it outside the law?
We had a permit.
You see false comparisons. Yeah, like all of these things throughout, all of the points that were being made are false comparisons, because in reality, you are making, you're comparing, apples and oranges, and you're avoiding these issues, right? That this is an exception. You have a permit. It's happening one day a year. And look, in Egypt, I was mentioning this example to you. In Egypt, you have a massive number of Coptic Christians. They talk about freedom and whatever. The Egyptian president, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, he built them, the Coptic Christians, the biggest cathedral in the Middle East in 2019. He didn't build the biggest mosque in the Middle East. He built the biggest cathedral in the Middle East. That is the amount of influence that Coptic Christians have in Egypt. People who live in Egypt, I visited, I saw. They pray, but when they have Christmas or all of these things, you see them in the streets coming out. And they blockade. The government comes and makes blockades in the road in front of big churches, so they can celebrate Christmas. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Talking about practicing your faith. This allowed, it's happening in Muslim countries. You cannot compare an Islamic teaching, an action of worship, or Muslims do it in a specific way, with how Christians pray when they don't pray that way. You gotta compare it the way they pray. Do they practice their own ways of worship in Muslim lands? Yes. Their own ways of worship is to go to churches, to celebrate. Do they do these things? Yes. Do they have their holidays? Yes. So they're practicing their faith in the way that their faith is supposed to be practiced. Mm-hmm. We practice our way in the way our faith is supposed to be practiced. So we cannot make these false comparisons with one another. You cannot compare a secular country that allows freedom of speech, freedom of religion, with a Muslim country that is core doctrines. This is not the idea. It allows it. Islam allows the people to practice their faith, right? But it doesn't allow it to have complete freedom of speech. We don't believe in that. We don't believe in absolute freedom of speech. You can say insult prophets, insult messengers, depict Jesus. We don't have this nonsense in Islam, right? We have limitations when it comes to freedom of speech. So are Muslim countries remaining consistent? They are remaining consistent. But now you don't have the same methodology. So it's a false comparison when you compare a country that is doctrine is saying, look, we are morally better than you because we allow freedom of speech, we allow freedom of religion. And they say, oh, but you're not doing it. So are we morally better or not? Which one is it, right? Is Islam an aggressive thing which is limiting people? Or is that the right thing to do from the beginning? And that's why you're bringing these Islamic examples, right?